Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. From today, we'll start with our next unit, that is managing software project. Okay. So first of all, what is project? How can you define project in simple terms? Yes, anyone? A product before it is put to production is termed project, a developing product. Okay. Software in development. Okay. Okay, so from all of this, we can say that it is one kind of group of tasks, group of activities for to develop your final product, to develop your software. Okay, to develop that whole thing, we require some kind of steps, some kind of task that we need to complete to reach to our final end product, to reach to our result. So we can say that it is sort of set of inputs, some kind of outputs which are required to achieve our goal, achieve our end product, right? So you can say that, see, as we have covered in that process also, that process development methodology is selected based on your company, based on your organization, how complex your project is. So here also you can say that projects can vary from simple to difficult. Okay, and according to that, we are going to select how we are going to manage it, what will be the scope of that project, or what could be the output of that. Okay, so uh, what are the you can say that who are the main person involved in this project management? Who are those main entity? See, one can be obviously the project manager. Okay, because this project is mainly handled, described, approved, whatever sort of things that is done by the project manager, who will manage your entire project. And other important thing is your team who is going to execute your project, right? So they will put their effort, they will put their best effort to gain your end result, to gain your end product, and to handle your whole sort of project in terms of like whatever the errors or difficulties or defects at any point of time you face. So basically they are going to handle this whole thing, this whole project, and they put their best effort to complete this thing on proper time, on a specific time, to hand over it to our customer. So you can say that for this project management to be successful, you can say that some teams will split the whole project, or basically it is the whole project is splitted into a specific kind of task, so that it can be easy to manage all those things, to manage responsibility, and also it will be easy to utilize the team strengths. Okay, we can utilize it, that is the best way to utilize this team strength. Because say for example, I am good at developing, other person is good at testing, other person is good at writing documentation, or other one is like good at managing all those things. So by splitting this project or this whole thing into a specific task, it will be easier to manage also, it will be easier to utilize, and we can utilize in a better way whatever the team strength is there, we can utilize it in better way. So after that, what is this management? See, management is very, if we talk about in layman term, management is one kind of planning that what we are just deciding in any domain. Okay, not just for project or software, but if we talk about planning, like whatever we decide, just what we need to do. Okay, and we are sort of planning for that. We are organizing, we are making some arrangements. Then we are also management also involves staffing, like that is also required thing, that right amount of person, right right strength is there with us to handle our task, whatever the task is there. So management also involves staffing, that we select the right people for our job. Then it is also involves directing, because at certain time period we have to give some instruction, we have to monitor, we have to control certain things, we have to control some actions. Okay, so then time to time we have to provide some innovations to make our product better. So all those representation we have to after that we have to represent in a proper format, so that it would be approved from the customers or our end user. So all those things comes under this management. Okay, so from this, what is the software project management we can say? So we can say that it is one kind of art and discipline of planning, supervising your whole software project. Okay, we have to, it just involves all those phase: planning, implementation, monitoring, controlling. So it is a disciplinary where we have to go through all those phases for our project, and we are going to manage our project, you can say, by completing each each of these phases. So you can say that it is a one kind of procedure of managing, allocating, and time to time distributing resources to develop your computer software, to develop your software, ultimately to fulfill all those requirements. Okay. Now there are three basic terms, or you can say that three basic needs are there for software project management: time, cost, and quality. Because in any software project management, the client also and your developers also need to know what is your length, how much time this project is going to work, uh, and how much it would cost us. Okay, so it is very much essential part of this software organization to deliver a quality product. Okay, and we have to keep in mind the cost also within, or you can say the budget of your client, and according to that we have to deliver our project as per the schedule, whatever the schedule that has been decided. And also you can say that there are various other factors which can influence these three factors, or you can say that this among these three factors, two any two factors can influence any other factor. Okay, so that is possible, but mainly there are three factors when we talk about this software project management. Now, while talking about this software project management, there are four important P's which involves in this software project management. The first one is uh, people, product, process, and project. See, So to carry out this effective software project management thing, we have to focus on all of this. But among these four, the people factor is, you can say, very much important in the process of your software development. The people, you can say that it involves any kind of, like, from recruiting section, from selection or your performance management team, training team, then you can say the organization, from your organization or from your work team. It can be anything, the people, whatever the performers which are there, or the person which are there, which contains or which comes under this people criteria, people factors. So they can be from any department. You can say that they can be stakeholders, they can be team leaders, or they can be our software team who actually going to develop your software. So you can say that those are the people that deal with the highly deal with whatever the skills are there. Okay, because on the basis of that they are going to develop your software. So they are highly motivated, highly skilled persons, and your team. And organizations, you can say that it is said that organizations that have high levels of maturity within your people, then management space have a better chance of implementing effective software package, okay, or effective software development. If your team is highly qualified and it has some high levels of maturity, so you can say that your management process would be easier, much easier. Then the next one is the product. So product is nothing but the actual software which is to be built. So you can say that before before a project, before any project can be planned, product objectives, whatever our end product would be, so its product objectives and scope should be established, and alternative solutions should also be considered. Okay, so technical management constraints should also be identified. Before you are going to plan any project, you have to identify all the objectives, scope, and you have to also focus on the alternative solutions. Because at any point of time, if we are going to stuck at any particular point, then you should have all those alternative solutions and technical management constraint. That is also one thing that you have to focus, because without all this information it is impossible to define the reasonable estimate cost that that you would require for your product, that you require for your end product. Okay, so without all this information, this scope, objective which you have to decide, the alternative solution which you have to consider, so without planning all those things, it would be impossible to define the reasonable amount of reasonable estimate of cost, then estimation or effectiveness of your risk assessment. Okay, and it may possible that if you have not properly go through all this process, you may have the you may have some kind of breakdown at your project at any particular point of time, or uh, in case if you have not managed all these things, if you have not managed properly your whole project schedule. So objectives which are identified, they would ultimately help us to reach to our goal. Okay. So objectives that help us to identify our overall goal. for our product, and without it would just not focus on that how these goals will be achieved. It would just help to identify all those objectives, and that would ultimately identify that how that we can uh, that we can identify our overall goal, but it would not consider that how those goals will be achieved. So scope identifies the primary data, functions, behaviors that characterize our product. And once all these product objectives scope will be understood, the alternative solutions are considered, and from the available various alternatives, managers, practitioners selects a best approach that how we can achieve that particular thing. So that is nothing but the product, which is the software, the actual software which is to be built. Now the process. So what's the process? So you can say that a set of framework, one kind of software process which provides the framework from which a comprehensive plan for software development can be established. So the all the software development process that we have studied in first chapter. Okay, so you can say that a small number of framework activities are used and they are applicable for your software project, whether your project is of a small size or large size, or whether it is a complex or a simple one, but it is just a set of all the framework activities and tasks which we need to get our job done. And that's different type of task involves like what are the milestones or work merchandise, quality assurance points. So uh, these all things will help us to make our goal achieved. And once we identified all those framework activities, we can customize it as per our project. Okay, whatever is suitable for our particular project characteristics, according to that we can adjust them. We can custom made all those particular tasks and activities. And after that, as I told you that we can select an appropriate process model to develop our software. Like the process model we have covered, waterfall model or iterative waterfall model, prototyping model, then uh, rapid application development model, spiral model, etc. So all this we can select as per our process or as per our project requirement. And the final P of your project management is the project, which is nothing but the all work required to make the product a reality. Okay, so we conduct planned, controlled software projects for any primary reason, and that is nothing but to handle the project complexity. To deal with that particular complexity of your project, or however long your project is, we just properly go through the planning, controlling, managing all those software project tasks, so that ultimately we can achieve our end end result. So a software project manager and your software engineers who build the product must avoid a set of common warning and understand the critical things, critical points or critical factors which can come across in this development process, and that would lead you to a good project. That would lead to a good project management. And in basically it is just to sum it up, we can say that it is a approach in which we have to plan, monitor, control the whole project. Okay, so these are the four P's of your project management. After that, the first one, if we talk about the first one, that is your people. Okay, so there are many roles, or that are you can say there are many kinds of different elements which are there in this particular people factor. So the first one, you can say that senior manager, project or technical manager, practitioners, customers, end user. So you can say that the people who are going to participate in this whole project management thing, we can divide them in according to different roles, according to different responsibility. We can say these are the players in these are the players of this people factor, and we have divided into these five particular categories. Senior managers are nothing but who define the business issues that often have significant influence on your project. Then project managers are nothing but who are going to plan, motivate, organize, and control the practitioners who do software work. Then practitioners are the people who deliver the technical skills that are necessary to engineer a product or application, and they often make poor team leaders. Then customers are the people who specify the requirements for the software to be engineered, and other stakeholders who have a peripheral interest in the outcome. And finally, the end users who interact with the software once it is released for production use. So these are the people, or these are the elements, or you can say the players who are in the people factor, who are in the first P of your project management. Now, to be effective, the project team must be organized in a way that can maximize each person's skills and their abilities to basically use their strength in the best possible way, and that is the job of your team leader. So you can say that the team leaders are having these three main characteristics. It is also defined as the MOI model. First is the motivation, which is nothing but the ability to encourage your technical people so that they can produce their best ability. Then they can perform with their best ability. Then the organization is nothing but the ability to mold existing processes or invent new processes, and that will ultimately enable the initial concept to be translated into end result, into end product or the final product. Then the ideas or innovations. So the ability to encourage people to create and feel creative. Okay, that is also the job of your leader, that to encourage people to create and feel creative, even when they must have to work within using under certain boundaries. Okay, under certain boundaries which are established, such that they have to create and feel creative. They have to produce the end result creatively, and that is also uh, innovation thing, which is also comes under the job of this team leader. Okay, so you can say the team leader is the one who knows that uh, where to go and what you have to do and how you can mold your team to get that particular job done. Okay, so now the manager's job. So, see, in this project management, the manager needs to perform certain jobs. The project contains, we know that project contains all like everything, entire development method. Okay, so to avoid project failure, the manager needs to take certain steps. they need to focus about whatever the defects are there, whatever the errors are there, okay, the bugs are there. So in order to manage a successful software project, we must have to understand what can go wrong and how we can make it right, so that we can avoid certain problems, okay, which are occurring due to that particular reason. So he should know, or he or she should know that what can go wrong and how we can do it right. So you can say that ultimately this last project factor is a series of steps where we need to make accurate decisions so that we can make the project successful. And there your manager needs to perform that role. Okay, so you can say that, um, see, the first one is here is a formal risk management, then empirical cost and schedule estimation, metrics-based project management, tracking of all your works, uh, defect tracking against quality targets, and people aware to make people aware project management. So basically, these are the things which comes under the role of your manager. That effective project manager should diagnose your technical and technical as well as organizational issues that are most relevant to your project, and see that whole thing should be systematically structured to get a solution, or he should be able to properly motivate other practitioners, other people in his team to develop that particular solution. And he must take charge of that whole project, and he should basically control all those necessary things, and he should have that assurance that whatever the product is being developed, that is perfectly according to your criteria. Okay, and he or she should allow the technical people, okay, to follow, to make their best efforts and to get the best results or best strengths to perform their ability. Also, as I told you that a project manager must be able to aware people, okay, so he should be able to make his team understand about the project, about the goals, or about the end product. Wherever at any point if they are stuck, he should be able to help them. He should able to track all those things in order to reach the quality targets. Then the next is the team itself. So basically, any team structure in your software project management, it is basically depending on many things like management style of your organization, or number of peoples who are there in that particular involved in that particular project, or what are the skills, or what are the skill levels of that particular people who are involved in that particular project. Then how difficult your problem is. So all those things that will influence your team structure. So these are the following factors that must be considered when selecting a software project team structure. The first one is the difficulty of the problem to be solved, that we have to consider. Then the size of the resultant program in lines of code or whatever the functionalities are there. Then the time that the team will stay together, because if there is no unity in your team, then it would also lead us to the failure of your project. Then the degree to which the problem can be modularized. because as I told you in the very starting that this project is, you can say, a set of small tasks, a set of number of tasks which can be ultimately solved to reach to our end product. Okay, so we have to find that new innovative ways in which we can modularize our whole product, whole project. Ultimately we are just dividing into number of sub problems to find a solution of your original problem. Then the required quality and reliability of the system which is to be built, that is also we have to consider. According to that we have to select our project team, then rigidity of the delivery date, and the degree of sociability required for the project. The communication is must for any project development, any project management. That leads to our next topic, that is team coordination and communication. So, as I told you that there are many reasons which can affect your software project. Uh, you can say the if your project can be too large, okay, or your project can be too small. If your project is too large, then it will ultimately, obviously there can be many complexity as compared to the small size project. Okay, and if we require more number of people, more number of resources, then it will lead us, the confusion can also be there. Okay, in coordinating all those things and coordinating to manage the coordination between the team members or your team and the project manager or whatever. So the scaling factor is also the one thing that we have to consider, whether your project is of large size or a small size, because if your project is of very large size, it would ultimately have a more number of complexity and confusion between your team than if your project is having a number of changes in between. Uncertainty would be there. Then that is also the reason that if the requirements are getting changed frequently, then that would also lead to our, so ultimately it also requires some kind of communication, some kind of proper coordination between your team, between your customers, between your end user stakeholders and the team. Then if say for example the customer want some kind of changes in the existing product, and they want to create a new product on the basis of that existing product, then uh, we have to make some kind of coordination between those softwares that they can incorporate or interoperable. Okay, all those software would work smoothly if we are going to merge the new things, new functionalities with that old existing ones. So these are some of the reasons which require, which says that we need a proper team coordination, team communication. And so here are some techniques for the same. The first one is formal impersonal approaches, formal interpersonal procedures, informal interpersonal procedures, electronic communication, interpersonal networking. So basically, these are all the different kinds of techniques which are used to coordinate the actions or coordinate the things between the team members, starting with this formal impersonal approaches. So see, we know that what is the difference between this formal, informal. Formal communication, you can say in written something we have, then you can say the structured meeting. Okay, or in informal communication, like some communication between communication at a personal level. Okay, the communication between the members of your software team, if they are discussing something about some error or some line of code. Okay, so on the temporary basis, personal level, so that you can say that that is the that is the informal communication. Now, this formal impersonal approaches, so that includes software engineering documents and deliverables, technical memos, then project milestones, schedules, project control tools, uh, documentation, basically all those reports, error tracking report, error generation report, repository data. So all those things are the comes under this formal impersonal approaches. Then formal interpersonal procedures. See, both the things are informal way only, but there we have this documentation, deliverables, technical memos, or report kind of thing. But here we also focus on quality assurance activity, like whatever the quality assurance activity that we can apply to our software engineering work products, that comes under this particular formal interpersonal procedures, and that uh, include this, like status review meetings, design code inspection. So all those things are there. Then informal interpersonal procedures, so that include, as the name suggests, that include group meetings for information exchange, problem solving sort of thing, or you can say the collection of requirement uh, between the development staff only, in between the development staff only. So that is also informal interpersonal procedures. Then electronic communication, as the name suggests, it is having the communication via electronic mail, or you can say the video based conferencing system, or video conferencing based communication. So that is electronic communication. And interpersonal networking, so that includes the informal discussions with team members and those who are outside the project, like outside the project, who is having the experience, or having some kind of insight about your project, so they can assist your team members. Okay, so the informal communication, informal discussion between your team members and those who are outside of the project, and they are just helping or giving some their experience to help you out. So these are the interpersonal networking. So these are the ways that we can coordinate our team. We can have the coordination of communication between your team, and to ultimately manage your software project. The next one is the product scope. Okay, so that is all about the people, the whatever the roles are there for people, the leader role, then manager, your software team, how it should be structured, and how to make the communication coordination between them. Now the next one is the product. So basically a software product, whenever, as I told you earlier, that before we going to develop anything, we need to finalize the scope, we need to finalize the objectives, so that we can have better criteria, that to better vision to identify our goals and goals of our project. So software scope, in considering of software scope, we need to consider all those three things, that is the context, information objectives, function, and performance. Starting with the context. So see, these are some of the questions by which, by getting the answer of those questions, we can better determine our scope of the project. How, the first one is, how does the software to be built so that it can fit into a large system, product, or business context. And also, we need to identify that what are the constraints are imposed as a result of the context. Then the second one is information objectives. So the questions by which we can identify that is what customer visible data objects are produced as output from the software, what data objects are required for input, and the function and performance. So what does the software perform to transform input data into output, or are there any special performance characteristics to be addressed? It is just that the scope, to define the scope, we can have the answer of this sort of questions. And the scope must be unambiguous and properly understandable at the management level also and at the technical levels also. And then comes our process, as we know that we can select a proper approach by which we can develop our software. And this process is basically, as I told you in the first slide, that a set of tasks, like all the task milestones, whatever the things that we have to achieve. So it just defines all this task set, all those work products, all those quality assurance checkpoints, all the milestones which we achieve. So we can have the approach according to all those, considering all those points. And then next is our project. So in order to manage this successful software project, we must understand that we can go wrong, and if we go wrong, then how we can make it right, how we can do it correct. See, there are many reasons that the project can be failed. If your software, if your software people who is not understanding, or the team, uh, the team who is developing your software did not understand properly understand your customers' need, then that is also be the reason for your software project failure. Then if your product scope is not properly defined, and whatever the changes are there which comes from the customer side, you did not properly incorporate them, or you chose the technology which is not properly uh, properly incorporate with the software development methodology, then it would also point to a failure. Then it may possible that your sponsorship of your project is lost in between. So there are many reasons that this project can be failed. Okay, so we have to properly manage those things, so that we can avoid all those things. We have to start with a proper team who is focused, who is motivated, and can give its 100% and can be a long running in that particular project. And we have to always start with the proper specific objectives, so that we can, if the objectives are set properly, then we can achieve our goal in a better way. And the team is also be highly skilled and motivated. Okay, also time by time we can track our process, track our project, that if something is going wrong, then we can correct that thing. So all those things uh, will help us to avoid the project failure. And then there is this Barry Boehm has given this W5HH principle. Okay, that these are the questions. By answering these questions, we can properly manage to start doing any project management. We can have answer to this, so we can better manage our project, like what is the system being developed, what will be done, when it will be accomplished, who is the responsible person, where are they organizationally located. It is also possible that not all the people are from your team only. As I told you, they can be outside of your team also, that have some experience and they are going to help you. How will the job be done technically and managerially? How much of each resource will be needed? So by having answer of all those things, and by getting the answer of all those things, and then we start our project, then we can say that will end up with a successful project. Now, now we'll stop here, and we'll see the metrics of this process, product, project in the next lecture.